So if you've seen my previous videos, you have some background information about what happened in my previous pregnancies and my feelings related to future pregnancies. But if you haven't watched those videos yet, and if you're curious, I'll link them down below. We had planned to possibly start trying again this past month in September, but I started noticing that there's something wrong with my cycle because I normally keep track of my basal body temperature since the beginning of this year, and I noticed that there was something wrong when it was nearing day 30 and I haven't ovulated yet. So normally my cycles are between 31 to 35 days long, and I normally ovulate on day 22 to 24. This month the temperatures were significantly lower. So let's say my pre-ovulation temps were usually between 96.92 to 97.45, and after ovulation it rises up to 98. During that time it was ranging between 96.08 to 96.87, so all significantly lower than my previous average temperatures. I tend to go paranoid and I start researching anything and everything that could be going wrong. I start thinking that maybe I have a thyroid problem or maybe I have low progesterone. I don't want to be like a hypochondriac. I don't want to say like, oh, I have this symptom, and that symptom, and so that must be what's wrong with me. But at the same time, I was having symptoms. I easily gained weight. I was down to 127 in December, and in just 4 months I gained 20 pounds, and I gained another 10 pounds after that. My heart was racing a lot, even if I'm just sitting there watching a movie or if I'm trying to fall asleep. It takes me a long time of slow, deep breathing for me to calm down. I also noticed that my fingers were swelling again. The past few years, usually in the winter time, if I take a hot shower or if I just walk and my body gets really warm, my fingers would swell up, or if I'm exercising, obviously. And I do get cold really easily. At nighttime, I usually sleep with the door open, but I sleep with a weighted blanket so I'm warm, but then my feet would actually start getting sweaty. I also noticed that I am often feeling really fatigued, really sluggish in the mornings. I don't really want to do anything the rest of the day. And I've also been getting my usual rashes from anxiety, usual stress, anxiety, depression, insomnia, lower back pain, and I have memory issues as well. So the first thing I did was ask my doctor to see if she could do a blood test to check my hormones. And by that time, I actually did ovulate on day 32. And so the day that I did my blood test, it was 3 days past ovulation. So the blood test came back with all normal levels according to her. But you know me, I like to do my research, and I noticed that other women who were trying to conceive that took a blood test around DPO, they had higher levels of progesterone than I did. And so I was asking her, is that what was causing me to miscarry? Am I not having enough progesterone so I can't sustain a healthy pregnancy? My doctor said it was outside her scope of expertise, so she recommended that I talk to her OBGYN to get more information. So meanwhile, I actually saw on Facebook that Kindbody was having a free pop-up clinic for fertility testing in Palo Alto. So I went there to get a blood test to test my AMH levels. And as you can see here, so AMH is a hormone released by your egg cells as they grow, so the level of AMH can be used as a proxy for quantifying the number of eggs you have inside your ovaries. I told them I was 31, so they suspected that I'd fall within this normal range of 1 to 6, because you'd probably see your eggs declining after age 35. And they explained that having a 5 is not better than having a 1. It doesn't mean you necessarily have more eggs just because you have a higher number. Obviously, if it was less than 1 right here, it does mean that your egg count is low. And if you have a high number, more than 6, then you might have a hormone imbalance. So I got my test results back, and I actually got a 10.03. So I brought that along with me when I went to see my OBGYN 2 weeks ago, and she basically told me I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. You could clearly tell that from my weight that I'm obese for an Asian, because anything over 125 for my height, which is between 5'1" to 5'2", is already overweight for an Asian. She explained that the belly fat that I have is causing my hormones to mess with my cycle, making it longer and longer, which was true because my previous cycle was 38 days, and eventually I did get my periods, so it ended with 43 days this cycle. And she recommended that I go back on a low-carb diet and do cardio so that I can lose weight, because even maybe losing 10 pounds can help. I should do that before trying to conceive, because if I were pregnant now, I would actually have a high chance of having diabetes, which I did believe because my mom had diabetes when she was pregnant, and that stuck with her the rest of her life. I know with PCOS, some women go on metformin and Clomid, but my doctor hasn't recommended doing so just yet. We just want to see if I can maintain a healthy weight within the coming months and use OPK to see if I can get pregnant, and if I can't, then we'll revisit that. So my husband and I have been looking at diet plans for PCOS, and that's basically a lot of veggies, fish, chicken, low carb, low sugar, no red meat, no dairy. Basically, we want anti-inflammatory and high fiber foods that can combat insulin resistance. So foods on the low glycemic index. And that's because with PCOS, our bodies may try to pump out high levels of insulin to try to regulate our blood sugar levels. If the insulin levels are too high, it can actually cause our ovaries to produce more androgens like testosterone. So if you want to follow my weight loss journey, then you can follow my Instagram, @RoGetsFit, and I'll link that down below. And let me know if you have any comments or questions. Thanks for watching.